there was a line in that it took me by surprise just now, which is this idea of, I wish I remembered that the world isn't keeping score, that no one's keeping score. Anybody live their life sometimes like keeping score with yourself? Yeah. That's so funny. The reason I'm laughing now is because I added a song to my first musical called Keeping Score with Myself. And I just realized, of course, I'm the one that wrote that, Keeping Score with Myself. And I gave it to Kevin to sing in the show. And then I wrote new lyrics to it on the plane. And when we arrived in LA, I handed them to him one day and said, oh, these are the new lyrics. Could you put them in tonight? And he tried to sing them, and they got all confused, and he walked back in. No, they were terrible lyrics. I'm saying that. He tried to sing them. He sang the right lyrics, I think, but he walked in the dressing room right after he sang the song, and he went, I will never sing that song that way again. The lyrics are out. I didn't even question him. I just said, okay. I still like those lyrics. So, the title of my talk for our final talk of the year is Reflections on a Life. You know, on New Year's Eve, we tend to reflect on the year, don't we? We tend, as Eric just did, we tend to go back and reflect on the year. So today I just want to give you a chance to not just reflect on 2023, but to reflect on your life. You know, you are where you are right now because you've lived the life you have lived. And, you know, most of the time on New Year's Eve, we also do resolutions. People do New Year's Eve resolutions. And I just wanted to tell you what it actually means. A resolution is a firm decision to do or not do something. That's all it means. A firm decision to do something or to not do something. So I don't think it's bad to make New Year's resolutions. The question is, do you know what is yours to do and what maybe is yours to no longer do? And that's what I'd like you to think about here today. Because you are who you are sitting in that seat based on the decisions you've made in your life. Every decision you make takes you in another journey and colors you, creates your personality. So all the do's and don'ts of your life have created the person sitting in that chair, which means that all the do's and don'ts you make from this point forward will color and create whoever shows up next. So, resolutions. First question. What do you want to do with the time that's in front of you? Now, I'm not going to say, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? Because that sounds kind of depressing. What do you want to do with that time you have left? That's not it. What do you want to do with the time you have in front of you? Meaning this moment, and the next, and the one after that. And I'm not asking you for your long-term goals. I'm saying, what do you want to do? How do you want to live this time that you're living in? What do you want to do with the time you have in front of you? And now let's ask the other question. What do you want to not do? What do you want to no longer do? What do you want to get rid of, eliminate with the time you have in front of you? Maybe keeping score with yourself can be eliminated, done. Judging yourself, comparing yourself to a younger version of yourself. Or telling yourself, I should have been here, I should have. Who would like to get rid of their shouldas? Yeah. Right? And your yeah buts. So those are two really important questions. And it's all about having a resolution. What do I want to do? What am I deciding to do with the time I have in front of me? There's nothing I can do with the time behind me. And boy, how much time do we waste on the time behind us? thinking about it, trying to make better sense out of it, wishing, I wish I'd have done this, I wish I'd have done that. But the real question today and tonight is, what's the resolution? What's the resolution? What am I going to decide to do with this time in front of me? What am I going to decide to do? What am I going to decide to no longer do with this time in front of me? When you look back, I want to ask you, is there any part of your life that when you look back, you wish you could have a do-over? Anybody? Probably most of us can look back and say, I would actually like a do-over of that. And I'd like to reframe that a little bit, because I have do-overs. I can go back, when I look back at my early career as an actor, I would certainly like to do that over, because I was so, I came out of the womb perfect, as we all did. And then I was told, you have a weak heart. You can't do this. You're not masculine. You're a sissy. You're a bum, bum, bum. And they kept piling up. And then I would find a way to fight them and prove I wasn't that. So by the time I started my acting career, with so much talent, I was in fight mode. I fought you. I was so difficult to work with. I fought everyone. Everyone was wrong. And so all this talent, it's amazing I was as successful as I was. Because me today as a director, I would not hire him. But they kept hiring him until they didn't. Until it always had to be someone new to hire me. It's hard to get the same person to want to work with me twice. And so would I like a do-over for that young man? No, not really. Because it made me who I am today. And I understand that. Now, does that sound like a cheap getaway? Like, yeah, that's just easy to say that now. No, because what I'm going to ask you to reframe is the idea, instead of a do-over, how about a do it again? Not do it over, do it again. Who do you want to be now? How do you want to do it now? I still have the same talents I had then. I have everything I had then, better, even more understanding. And every one of you do. Every one of you is sitting in your seat with everything you had coming out of the womb multiplied abundantly. Because you know who you are. Just like that baby did. So instead of the do-over, how about a do again? Let's do it again. Let's look at what T.S. Eliot writes. Although I still don't forgive him for cats, I do think he has some good quotes. For last year's words belong to last year's language, and next year's words await another voice. I don't know about you, but that makes me tear up. It's like, let's stop saying the same old, same thing again and again and again. Let's stop telling our stories of how we would like do-overs, how we wish we had done this, I wish I had done that. That's just the last year's words. And you're never going to find your new voice unless you are willing to let all that go and start speaking from what's inside of you. And that means you got to start asking, what is in me? And that's that second question. What wants to know me? At this moment in my life, what wants to know me? So are you ready? And I guess really more importantly, are you willing to give voice to your desires? And if you're sitting here saying, I don't really have desires, then you're dead, frankly. Because everyone has desires, even if it's just a desire to go walk around the neighborhood or to go climb a tree or to go to the beach. That's a desire. So the question is, are you ready to give voice to those desires? That means let the world know. As my therapist said, first of all, let yourself know. Be willing to let yourself know, what do I actually desire? What is in me that I really want to do? And then, of course, be willing to do it. Mike Dooley said this: life's not about expecting, hoping, and wishing. It's about doing, being, and becoming. So, question: how many of you still have things that you haven't accomplished that you still think you want to accomplish? Show of hands. Good, 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 good. So, the question is, when is it going to be New Year's Day and stop being New Year's Eve? Think about that. Because on New Year's Eve, we make resolutions. We make decisions. We say, this is what I'm going to do. But it's always New Year's Eve. New Year's Day never comes. We never actually really go and do it full throttle. So whatever that is you have that you maybe haven't done yet, I promised myself I would not stand here at the end of 2023 and talk about writing my book. I was like, if that book is not published before this year is over, it's being published before this year is over. And I am so grateful. But now I'm at the point of like, okay, next. I'm going to go out and really lean into that book to make sure that the world gets it. I've been getting such amazing texts and emails of people who have read the book, and some people I don't even know just writing to me, telling me how it has affected them. So I want that to happen in the world. But what's the next thing? What more do I desire? Same thing for you. What are you ready to be absolutely done with in terms of getting it out there, doing it? So here's a question for you. How seriously do you take your life? How seriously do you take your life? Now, I'm not saying to be so serious that you're depressed and you're dark and you're angst-ridden, but how serious do you take your life? How important do you realize your life is? How serious do you take you? Are you important? Are you important to the world? Are you important to the people around you? Do you realize that everything you do, everything you create, everything you decide ripples into this universe? How seriously do you take your life? Do you realize that all of your thoughts, all of your dreams, all of your desires, all of your inner workings create some energy, shifts energy field in this universe? That's what we've been studying. You are an integral part of how this universe works. Do you realize that? Do you take that seriously? And therefore use your mind in such a way that you're allowing the seriousness of you to show up. Think for a moment. Who in your life, who do you think of as a serious person like that? Oh, that's a serious, Mark Nepo is a serious person. That's someone who takes their life seriously. Oprah Winfrey, she takes her life seriously, right? I believe Michelle Obama takes her life seriously. I love someone said to her recently, what's it going to take to get you to run for president? And she said, absolutely nothing. She said, because it's never going to happen. She said, because I know who I am and what I want for my life. So think in your life, who in your life watch, she'll run for president now. Who in your life can you point to and say, that's a serious person? And why are you saying that? Because they have done something profound with their lives. They seem like a serious contender. But that's who you are. No matter what you think, that's who you are. There's something in you that is reaching out to you saying, Corinne, you are a serious contender in this universe. You have so much to offer. So much to give. And it doesn't mean you have to go write a best-selling novel or go out and do something dramatic. It just means get it, how important you are. I love this quote by Cary Grant. First of all, I just love that picture. Right? We all remember Cary Grant? I know some of you might not remember him. Okay, never make a resolution which won't be as important on the 8th of April or 10th of July as it is the first day of January. So what do you want to do with the time you have in front of you? And are you willing to understand how important this time is? And are you willing to say to yourself today, on this last day of this year, I will no longer waste one moment of my life. And by wasting, I mean I won't keep looking in the past. I won't keep bringing things up that do not move me forward. And I'm not saying wasting time is going to the beach and spending an entire day staring at the ocean. That's like profoundly useful to me. So, how important are you? And are you willing to make resolutions tonight, today? Are you willing to decide those two questions? What am I going to do? And what am I done doing? And make sure it works both in April and in July. And then, of course, we can't end the year without Dr. Seuss. You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself in any direction you choose. There you go. Right, Swan? It's up to you. It's up to every single one of us. Right, Wanda? You're the one in those shoes, those pumps that you wear every Sunday, those beautiful high heels, right? Every single one of us. No one is living in James Mellon's body. So wherever I go, I put myself there. Every single one of us. So what's it going to be? What's it going to be for this new year? And then, of course, I had to quote Oprah Winfrey. Your life journey is about learning to become more of who you are and fulfilling the highest, truest expression of yourself. More in 24. Leaning into the more. Being the more in 24. And this community, you have so many opportunities through the classes, through Spirit Breath, through all the things we are doing at this center, which is all about leaning into the quantum field of pure potentiality. That's the more I want us all to get involved in. So if our job is just to keep learning more and more and more, then there's not a lot to do back here other than respect it, honor it, love it, as Tara Brach would say, embrace it, have tea with it, and then move it along. And because, of course, I am a religious science minister, never limit your view of life by any past experience. Do not spend your life looking in the rearview mirror, because whatever's behind you has already happened, and the energy of that has already transpired. The only energy you have is what's right here, right now. And you have an opportunity now to make some decisions, to really make some amazing, resolute decisions of knowing, here's where I'm going. So finally, day one, as Mindy and the boys just sang, day one starts now. Don't keep making New Year's Day down the road. Don't keep making resolutions that fall away, because they weren't resolutions, were they? If it was resolute and you made the decision, it would be happening. If it's not happening, it's not a decision. It's merely a wish, a hope. So I invite you to really move into tomorrow as day one, to take New Year's Eve, to take today, to look back, to look at your life, to say, okay, this is good, this is not so good. I want to do this. I no longer want to do that. Make those decisions. Make some powerfully strong, resolute decisions. And then be willing to step out of the rearview mirror and look ahead. Be the more in 24. So when I was looking for quotes for today's talk, and I don't have this quote, the first quote that came up was a quote by C.S. Lewis. C.S. Lewis, is that it? Yeah, C.S. Lewis, Alice in Wonderland. And it was every year, create a new heart. And I was like, well, that's funny. Because it seems that's what I have done. You know, for me, 2023 was a very surprising year. I was full steam ahead all year long. All year long. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew where we were going, everything. And then a heart attack. And I was like, that is not on my list of things to do. But it got fixed. And then the next thing, which was something else in my carotid arteries, which had to get fixed, which just got fixed. Half of it. So now I start 2024 pretty much right after New Year's Day, since it's the 2nd. I will start 2024 in surgery, fixing the last thing, the last vestige of gunk in my body. So when I read that quote from C.S. Lewis, I was like, interesting, a new heart. And so I'm going to invite all of you into that quote to create a new heart, to get rid of all the vestiges of any gunk. Anybody have any gunk left over? Any gunk that is still going on, to be done with it. And also to not have to do it surgically, to do it mentally, because consciousness is where it's all at. So when we're talking about being the more in 24, it means, are you ready to be your highest and greatest self in 2024? Yes?
Yes.
That was weak. Yes?
Yes.
John? Great. Everybody? One more time.
Yes.
So be the more in 24. Give yourself the opportunity to stand at the precipice of a very important life, your life, and stand there, look forward and say, I am willing to do this with the time I have, and I am no longer willing to do that with the time I have, because you get to decide. That's what we teach here. You are the deciding point. Take a deep breath tonight, and as that clock rolls to 9:01, I invite you to remember who you are in an even bigger way. Namaste.